are live from Raincross Farms Makery, and it is the morning of day 8 on our sourdough starter journey. So, welcome. My name's Robin, and again, this is Raincross Farms Makery, and we are so thankful that you're here. Please say hello in the comments so we know who is here. And let's get started. We have been a whole week on our sourdough starter journey. And here is our sourdough. I didn't take a close-up of it, but I'm gonna show it here. This is after 7 full days. I've got quite a few bubbles, and this is how much it rose. So it's not rising. It's not rising as much as it needs to. It is still a very immature sourdough starter. So it rose a little bit. It's on the right track. So we're going to continue on with this. So up until last week, we've been following the week 1 sourdough starter guide. And so it's time to move on to week 2. So at week 2, there's 2 different things we can do, depending on how your starter's doing. If
It
it's
says hello, and Margaret has sprinkled.
Thank
and
you.
Karen said starter.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's our keyword no, our keyword.
Is it guide or is it
I
starter?
think
I'm not seeing the keyword here.
There. Hold on.
We'll find it.
I think in the
Duke, get down, crazy dog.
I'm gonna add that. Okay. I think in the description I said the keyword was starter. So I just added it to the keywords. So if you didn't get a message when you typed in starter, go ahead and type it in again, and it should pick up now. Where was I? Okay, so week 2. There's 2 different methods you can switch to. If your starter is still a little bit sluggish, which I would say this is still a little sluggish, you'd continue on with the twice-a-day feedings just like we have been doing, morning and night. 1/4 cup flour, 3 tablespoons water. Continue that on until you start seeing your sourdough starter get stronger. If it is going gangbusters, lots of bubbles, lots of rise, you can switch to a once-a-day feeding where you basically double the amount of flour, double the amount of water, but you only feed it once a day. You still continue to discard once a day, but sorry, my cat is on a rampage around the house.
He is hyper today.
He caught a bird this morning, and who knows what he's chasing now. I've lost my. Anyway, even though your starter might be very active, it's still not super strong. So we're gonna want to wait at least about 3-4 weeks till we're ready to bake actual bread with this starter. So anyway, that's the switch we're making today. I'm going to continue with the twice-a-day feedings. If your starter is a lot more active, you could switch to once a day. So let's do that right now. We're going to do some other things today too. So I'm going to discard. Once a day I'm going to discard, whether I'm doing once a day feedings or twice a day. I still only discard once a day. So I'm basically going to remove probably a little more than half of this, because this is, I think this is 1.5 cups. So I want to leave at least, ooh, that is nice and bubbly on the inside. That's a good thing. So it's not just bubbly on the outside. So I want to leave about at least 1/2 cup of starter in here. So I'm going to add this to my discard jar, store this in the refrigerator till we're ready to use it, and we're going to use it later today. So now I have about 1/2 cup of starter, original starter in here, and I'm going to do its regular feeding. So I have this is all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup. This is unbleached flour, 1/4 cup, and 3 tablespoons of warm water, and stir it up. Do you have any questions? If you got questions, Bill is, I can't see very many questions.
No,
Bill's watching.
Just had a question. Did you send out the notification on everything? Because I did not
I
get
did.
a notification on
I
mine.
did. I got one.
Did you?
did.
We have 11 people on now,
Okay,
according to
awesome.
my computer.
Okay, so and I'm stirring this up, mixing it in with that original starter, giving it its twice daily feeding. I'm going to continue to do this twice a day. One thing I read to kind of get things going is stirring it midway through the day, like a couple of times a day. So that is something I think I'm going to start doing, is just partway through the day, give it a stir, and then let it continue to rest. So put its little lid back on. Now I have this rubber band here, so I'm going to lower that down so that I can see how much my sourdough will rise over the day. And I'm going to store this away, warm place, stir it probably every 3 or 4 hours, and come back to it again tonight. I'm going to set that aside for right now. So that's our regular sourdough starter that we've been working on all week. A couple of days ago, I was very concerned about that because it just didn't seem like it was taking off. So I did some other research and I found this other method of sourdough starter. And so I thought, well, let's just play around since we're all learning together. So I'm going to show you another method of a sourdough starter, and we're going to give it a try. Now, I'm referring to some guides that I have here. So I have my week 1 guide. It just kind of outlines what I've talked about. This is new for week 2, what to do for the second week and on. If you want to get a free PDF copy of these guides, comment guide in the comments and I will make one available to you. I've also got this one because we're going to do, it's a method called pineapple juice solution, or the pineapple solution. So this was, as far as I can tell, this was invented, created, discovered by a woman called, oh, I don't have it on this copy. Marie, I can't remember her name. I'm so sorry. I'll put it in the comments. You know what? I'm not going to take the time to do it. I really want to give her credit. This is not an invention of mine. Anyway, what you do is this starter, they recommend whole wheat flour. I was using all-purpose because I wanted to do something that was readily available to anybody. Well, whole wheat flour is also readily available, but it's not something everybody has stocked in their pantry. But we're going to give this a try. We're going to use whole wheat flour. There is some buzz about how the whole wheat gives the starter more traction or whatever. So we're going to try it. We're going to build this starter in this jar, and we are going to use 3.5 tablespoons. I gotta get a tablespoon. 3.5 tablespoons of whole wheat flour. So it's very similar in process. Just different ingredients. 1, 2, 3, and I'm just going to eyeball 3.5 tablespoons of whole wheat flour. And then instead of water, we're going to use pineapple juice. I guess the acidity, the citric acid in pineapple juice does great things with sourdough starter, so we're going to give it a try. So I didn't get pineapple juice. I just got a can of pineapple slices in pineapple juice, and it does say no sugar added. You don't want to have the syrup. You want it in pineapple juice with no sugar added. So we are going to I'm going to get a funnel. We're going to actually pour the juice off of this. You don't need a lot. You only need like 1/2 cup for the entire process. Okay, so I have a jar. I'm gonna put a funnel on. I'm gonna just drain off this juice, and then we'll have to make pineapple upside down cake, I guess. That's probably Bill's plan for it anyway. So I'm just gonna pour out the juice to use for this recipe. Set that aside. And how much? Let's see, a 1/4 cup unsweetened pineapple juice. So let me get a 1/4 cup. Cup of unsweetened pineapple juice. Let me make sure I'm doing that right. 3½ tablespoons flour, 1/4 cup unsweetened pineapple juice. Add that in, and we are going to stir that up just like we did the other.
Now, I know you're just starting this and you don't necessarily know, but is this going to give it a flavor of pineapple?
It will not. By the time it is sourdough started, till it has fermented enough, the pineapple juice will factor itself out. We're only going to add pineapple juice twice, so it's just kind of like a kickstart. So I'm stirring this up really well. Same thing, scraping it down. And this time the instructions are to stir it vigorously a couple of times a day, but basically we're not going to do anything to this for 48 hours. So we're just going to let it sit for 2 days without adding anything. But it does say give it a stir a couple of times a day. So I'm going to, just so I don't want it airtight, I'm going to peel off this rubber gasket, and I'm just going to close this. I'm just going to close this like that, and we will see how this one does. So that is the pineapple juice solution sourdough starter. So awesome. Give it a try. Has anybody tried it? Has anybody ever tried the pineapple method? Okay, so let's move on. It's been a week. We have been collecting, I have another jar in there. We have been collecting the discard starter for a week now. So we're going to start using it. This isn't strong enough to raise bread. It is slightly fermented, but it's still just flour and water. So we're going to use this, and we're going to make some pancakes, some sourdough starter pancakes. So I found a recipe that I've tried, and I love it. I have it printed out. If you would like a copy of it, this was from Amy Duska. I found her on Pinterest. Give her complete credit. But we're going to follow that recipe, and we're going to make some pancakes this morning. Okay, so there's 2 ways to do it. You can put together part of the ingredients and put them together the night before and let that sit out. And I guess it just kind of marinates and lets the starter kind of do what it's going to do. Again, it's an immature starter, but you don't have to do it the night before. You can do it the morning of and just let it sit for about 20 minutes, 20, 30 minutes. So, but what I did is I did make this up the night before, and I'll tell you what I put in it. I'm going to start my griddle, so get it preheating. Okay, so what goes in this? This is the overnight batter ingredients, and I did a half a recipe because it's just Bill and I here. So I did about, let's see, the recipe is 3/4 cup of sourdough starter, so I did half of that. So I did what, 3/8 of a cup of sourdough starter discard. So I took about 3/8 of a cup of this, half a cup of buttermilk, 1½ tablespoons of honey, or you could use sugar, half a teaspoon of vanilla, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, and a cup of just regular all-purpose flour. So that is what is in here. It has been sitting out on my counter all night long. It's kind of stiff, so we're going to need to loosen it up. So when you're ready to make the pancakes in the morning, you are going to add an egg. Here's one of our eggs from our chicken Iva. She produces the most beautiful eggs. So we're going to add 1 egg. And again, I'm doing a half a recipe. If you get the printout, it will give you the full recipe. And then I'm going to take a half a teaspoon of baking soda. We do want a little bit of a rise. We're not depending on the starter to give us the rise. A half a teaspoon of baking powder. And a half a teaspoon of salt. And we're going to mix that all together in the morning. Now, if this is too thick, I'm going to add a little bit of liquid. I could add more buttermilk, I could add milk, I could just add water. And this is very thick, as you can see. Look at that egg. Farm fresh eggs, nothing like grocery store eggs. And I'm going to mix this in really, really well. That overnight part is really thick. And I do want to make sure I get it all mixed together, because when I've tried them before, if you don't have all of that starter completely mixed in, you might get a chunk of bitter tasting sourdough, which isn't necessarily pleasant. So this is probably okay for waffles. You can use the same recipe for waffles, but we are going to do pancakes. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to this, because I want to be able to pour it for pancakes. You might want to use your electric mixer, but you don't have to. And because it's that sourdough starter, it's kind of a little glutinous. This is not gluten-free. I'm sorry.
I'll just make it a little more chewy.
Yep. Okay. So, I'm giving my arm a workout here. That's okay. I'm waiting for my griddle to heat up. And still a little thick. I'm going to add just a little bit more water. Again, you can thin it out with whatever liquid you choose. So this is our sourdough discard pancakes. So I'm still waiting for my griddle to heat up, but I am going to move it over here so you can see. I'm going to spin it around.
Says, looks yummy.
I'm going to spin this around.
Like I commented, that's the only reason I'm hanging around. There's going to be pancakes.
Okay, can you see that? Do I have that griddle where it needs to be? I want to make sure that cord isn't on the griddle. Okay, feels nice and toasty warm. I'm going to use some olive oil. You could use spray, and I'm going to use and this actually seems pretty hot. So these should cook up pretty fast. Okay. So let's start pancaking.
I'm always up for pancaking. And look, here come the chickens through the door. Let me go turn the girls out. They smell pancakes too. Larry, take your girls back out in the field.
Yes, if our front door is even slightly open, the chickens like to invite themselves in. Okay, so I'm making some good-sized pancakes here. It's gonna make about 6 or so. Ooh, don't go off the edge. No. There, it's starting to run together. I'm gonna hold off on that. So, smells good. And they're bubbly. I'm not good at turning pancakes. But they're smelling good.
Rosetta says she's never used pineapple starter, but it's interesting.
Whoops.
We're gonna find out.
I'm making an absolute mess of these. Probably should have let them cook just a little bit longer till they were stiffer. But that's okay. They're all gonna taste good, right? So I'm letting both sides cook. Get rid of that.
Duke is waiting for his pancake.
Gonna get a plate. I better get 2 plates. These are messy. I should have practiced more. I make messy pancakes.
You can practice every day if you want.
He is such a willing participant.
Duke is a willing participant. He's wanting his pancake now too. Aren't you, buddy?
Probably should have made them a little smaller. Oh well. This is what happens when you're doing live Facebook. I'm just gonna...
Yes, Teresa, the keyword today is...
We've got lots of keywords. You can say starter, you can say guide, or you can say recipe. Any of them will get you, they'll get you to the same place. You don't have to say all 3.
Patty says she'll have to rewatch. Came in late.
No problem. We are using up some of our discard starter. And just want to make sure these pancakes are cooked all the way through. And I probably will be inviting Mr. Bill over here to give them a try on camera. And
on camera? Wait a minute. What if they're no good?
If they don't taste good, we'll have to see how his acting skills are. Okay.
Duke wants to be invited too.
Okay, so I'm gonna put these over here. Ugly pancakes, but that's okay. That's okay. So let's see. Let's set those aside. Let's make this one up for Mr. Bill. Let's put some butter on it. Butter on his pancake.
Everybody wants butter on their pancake, right?
Let's get him some pure maple syrup because we can spoil ourselves because our kids are out of the house. We don't have to buy the sugar water. Okay.
That's for me?
That's for you.
All right.
Come give it a try. Sourdough discard pancakes.
As it should be. It probably could have
Cooked a little longer?
just a little bit, but I'll tell you what, this is the way I like them.
Okay, you can only see half your head. You need to
Hey,
scoot down
just
a little
because
bit.
you're short. Hello.
Okay, so how many thumbs up?
2 thumbs up because that's all I got.
2 thumbs up because that's the max he can do. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's live. We don't always go live, but we figure it's been a whole week and you've only been seeing my my just quick videos of what I've been doing. So I thought we'd go on live, especially on a baking day. So I'm going to make a couple more pancakes.
Oh, good.
So
She's making more.
half of this recipe makes about 6 or 7. You could probably get 8 or 10 if you did them decent sized, which I didn't do.
I'm leaving my plate there for a refill.
He wants a refill. Okay, so in the future, I am not going to be doing videos twice a day because I think you guys are tired of me and it's the same thing twice a day. So I'm going to combine my AM and PM and only post one video a day so you can see what I do on day 8 and 9 and 10 and so on. So you can see how that's going, but I don't have to post two of them. I'll just combine the two videos together. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you are enjoying this series. I hope you are thinking about or have already, I've seen comments from people who say they have started their own sourdough starter. So
Hi,
I love hearing about that. Hey Sylvia. Hey, Sylvia has a daughter-in-law who has this mastered. I should have invited her to come on the live. Anyway, thanks for watching. Follow our page if you're not already. We are mainly on Facebook, but we've been uploading our videos to TikTok and YouTube, so follow us there. And
Instagram.
I'm not doing Instagram. Anyway, great. So do something creative every day and just have fun. And we'll see you later.